20 containers to Uganda. A container is typically a 40-foot high-cap land sea container holding 20 of these one-ton pallets within them. $10,000 is about the cost of getting this from Smyrna, Georgia, to where it ultimately got to go to. It's not cheap, but on the other hand, no one else is getting the books of this weight to where they need to get to for that cost. If you think about the actual intrinsic value of these books themselves too as well, what it might actually cost to get your hands on university books. The university shipment probably around 22,000. University textbooks would probably be in the neighborhood of 300 grand. This stuff is material that has been donated to us and otherwise would be recycled, or in some of the worst case scenarios, a lot of the time landfill. America has a terrible legacy of waste. America sends around 22 million books to the trash every year. That's 10 times what we send probably on an average year. But this is our shipping area here. We start building our ships over here. This is going to the University of Benin, Nigeria. This is the Uganda shipment going to St. Jude. And we're actually actively working on this right now. I think that we're getting close to a finish on this stuff, and we have another Uganda shipment over here. A quick word about these shipments with the green tags on them too as well. These were paid for, the actual shipping costs were paid for by Sir Emeka Offor, who was born of humble beginnings. I believe he is a petroleum engineer from Nigeria and one of Nigeria's first billionaires. He's sending probably around 70 to 75 containers to South Africa, to Botswana, to Uganda, to Sierra Leone. He's not just helping out his own neck of the woods, he's going as international as he can go on the continent. He's worth knowing about, and he is actually one of those guys that is actually living up to his word. It's like, when I make money, I'm going to help people out. He's one of those guys who's he's actually kept us busy, sweating and running for a long time over this last year. In our warehouse here, we have a couple of things to be aware of. On the map over at the front of the house here, we have the area of what I call a good indication of our area of activity. We've been doing this for 25 years now. Over the last 25 years, we've sent over 30 million books to 49 countries in Africa. On the actual countries are numbers. The numbers are indicating the number of containers that have gone to date. The other thing, in the bottom corner of our map here, and on the other side is the financial report about what booksforafrica.org is comprised of, the donations that have really helped with getting these containers out the door. This listing here will show you where we've been over that last calendar year. But it is always changing, the numbers are always growing, and we're actually threatening to grow ourselves, although it's going to mean that we're not going to expand our footprint, we're actually going to extend our hours. But we typically send between 2 to 3 containers per week. Last year, we had 39 containers to Nigeria, 18 to the Gambia, and the rest of the list is on here too as well. It's 147 containers to 31 different countries. And these are available too as well. For the record. That's it.
As far as what we've got left, we're probably just some transfers.
Okay.
So we're going to probably build everything else from scratch for that.
Are we going to not try to pull that down today?
Yeah, we're going to try.
All of our stock. This is our sorting material. This is yet to be gone through. On the right-hand side, we have a bunch of tables here, which are organized according to grade level and subject matter. Why are these organized according to grade level and subject matter? This is actually the order forms in three-dimensional form. So if you look at the walls just beyond the table here, you'll see we have purple, red, yellow, blue, green to indicate our large block grade level areas. If it's purple or if it's university material, it'll be over in the far end section in the purple. Red is for high school, yellow is for 5th to 8th grade, blue is for 1st to 4th grade, and then green for reference law and religion. This enables the schools at whatever level that they're teaching to pull the books that they want from us, and we can match it as accurately as we can. Over at reference law and religion, if you're talking reference, obviously it would be a great spot for our dictionaries, thesaurus, encyclopedias, atlases. We also have a spot for law, human rights law, international law, criminal justice, corrections. All of those books are graded over here. The LexisNexis stuff is good in over here. We also have a spot for recycling. All right, Books for Africa, for your information, does recycle. We recycle a lot. There's a lot of stuff that comes our way that's not all that helpful given the actual area that it's headed to. It would include cookbooks, magazines, self-help, travel guides, American history, foreign language, Santa, Easter Bunny, old encyclopedias, diet books, workbooks. That sort of stuff comes through all the time, so we recycle it. This is a great listing of it right over here too as well. Everything that goes in here into recycling ultimately becomes our shipping boxes. We have stacks and stacks of shipping boxes over here that used to be workbooks. It used to be like a cookbook because measurements don't make sense anywhere else on planet Earth. It's a great use of that. The other thing we've got going on, we have a spot for religion behind me directly over here. Religion is virtually any of the faiths at any of the levels, okay? The baby books about Noah's Ark, the baby books about God, great. I've seen Hindu, Buddhism, Islam, Christianity, Judaism. A global approach is basically theology embodied. So that is great over in religion. We have a spot for French too as well. French, ideally, harder to find than you might think. This is going to be stuff already in French. Okay, so most often I'm not really trying to look for a high school learn to speak French books. I'm hoping for finding books that are already in French. I've seen Berenstain Bears in French. I've seen Moliere. I've seen Victor Hugo en français. That stuff's great over here, and English to French and French to dictionaries is good as well. That's good. We've got a spot for school supplies. Just think back to binders, notificator, pens, pencils, calculator, book bags, educational games, flashcards. Yesterday we had a bunch of magnetized tablets with little word fragments and stuff like that on it. And this stuff's great. It's like I got excited seeing that stuff coming in, knowing that it's like, okay, this is how it starts. It's how people start putting the words together. Okay, this is how this suffix, the prefix, all that stuff goes in over there in the spot, right underneath the bankrupt. At first or fourth grade, most everything you're going to expect to see under the curriculum at an elementary school anyway. The only question becomes, how do we identify it? As the stuff comes in, there are clues. This is math, and this is some of the more, I guess, confusing math. But a quick look at this. If I look in the front of the book and I see this format with which I sign in at the beginning of the year, I know it's at least K through 12. If I don't see that, in the case of elementary algebra for college students, if I don't see that in the front of the book and I see this, I usually know it's a college text. It's confusing though for a lot of our volunteers, especially in younger years. I think elementary algebra, okay, third grade, second grade. They may never touch algebra again. But over here, these also have on the spine, they have 3 dots filled into the 6-dot matrix there. Harcourt's also usually good. They kind of will go at it again at the beneath the ISBN code too as well. So most of these are going to have some sort of indication on it for what grade level. This has 4 diamonds in the back. This one has 1 and 2, which is good for 1st or 2nd grade. This one has 3 on the back of it. The reading comprehension book, same kind of deal. This is actually 6th grade. And 8th grade. But on the spine of this one right here, I got a 4 telling me it's 4th grade. And then this one right here is a 3.1 telling me it's for 3rd grade. But if you get anything in your hands and you're not certain about it, don't hesitate to ask. You're not inconveniencing our staff. We are here in order to help get these books accurately sorted. So, there's no dumb questions here whatsoever, and especially when you start to get a handle on how vast and expansive the American publication market is, then you start going, okay, wow, I do see why, asking questions don't make sense. We also have a spot for health. We have a spot for science. Leisure. On the table against the wall over here at leisure reading. This is for the board books, baby books. I Can Read, Dr. Seuss, Curious George, Arthur, starting at almost no pages. You know, the cardboard books don't have many pages to them, and working their way through all the way up through like Junie B. Jones and maybe Amelia Bedelia is about the top end of things there. Every section is going to look at least similar to this, but at 5th to 8th grade, we start to add a couple of subjects. So at 5th to 8th grade, you will see a spot. Unlike at 1st to 4th grade, we have a spot for art over here. We also have a spot for our world history, world geography, which is, I mean, this is a teacher's edition book, but it's still good. But at 5th to 8th grade, you start seeing a global approach to history. All right, we're not really sending like social studies at 1st and 4th grade, because usually it's very localized. Our city, our town, our state. This level of the game, though, is where we start to see in American schools the textbooks that follow world history, world cultures, world geography. The global approach is the approach that we want to be sending, and that matches up to the curriculum available. Also, what's good here, you'll have books about Vietnam, books about Korea, books about Latin America, books about Uganda, Ghana. That kind of stuff is also cool in there, too. Country by country books are also good either. Third thing different about 5th to 8th grade, the chapter books. This bumps up to all of the Goosebumps, R.L. Stein, Charlotte's Web, Harry Potter, Laura Ingalls Wilder, all of the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drew, Encyclopedia Brown. Hunger Games are good in over here too as well. High school, same kind of deal. High school we bump up a little higher though when we talk English literature. English lit. Usually, if you're seeing American literature, world literature, British literature, it's usually a high school concern. Classics are also good in that section too as well. If you kind of recall seeing that book on your summer reading list, it might be a good cause for sending it over here. Because sometimes a bunch of copies of that same book, like say for instance a Hobbes or something like that, or To Kill a Mockingbird, a bunch of copies of that stuff will work in the English lit classroom, you know, almost as well as a literature, hardbound literature textbook. The grammar and composition textbooks are also welcome here too as well. The only question is how do we identify this stuff, and it's a little bit confusing. But in this case here, this is 3rd course. It's 9th grade. How do I know? Well, over time, I've learned to count backwards with the course level stuff. And so usually 6th course is senior year, 5th course is junior year, 4th course is sophomore year, 3rd course is freshman year. So this is, okay, beginning of high school, or beginning of put it in over in the high school section. But if you have any questions, once again, about this, you get some introductory course. What does that mean? Don't hesitate to ask. High school leisure bumps up to adult fictions, and that covers everything from the Gossip Girls, and Zoe, A-list stuff, and Twilight, right up through like Stephen King, John Grisham, Stephen Hawking, Danielle Steele, like a multitude of fictions and bestsellers across the globe. Both the high school leisure and university leisure cover a big expansion of grade levels and subject matter. So don't really trouble over one over the other. They are virtually the same in terms of their scope and their leadership and their subject matter. But it's going to be action, intrigue, adventure, mystery, romance, science fiction, western, thriller, horror. All that stuff will work in over to high school. We also have at high school a slot for our sports, vocational, and hobbies over in this corner here too as well. We try and keep it for the appropriate age. Like when you get a book about basketball, you're going to occasionally we'll see like books about maybe sports medicine or training and things like that. And those ones are good too as well, especially if they seem to be formatted for some high school. And so that may be a good prospect over there. But all vocational guides, automotive skills, some of the early design series stuff, and hobbies are supposed to be followed and after right over here. On this end of the table here, we kick off university. A quick word about university textbooks. We try and keep that stuff about as recent as 1999 and newer. 1999 is 15 years now. So for medical and health here, you know, anatomy, physiology, pathophysiology, all of the PDRs, any of the nursing care guides, emergency care nursing, maternity nursing, any of the books about surgery, cancer, diabetes, pregnancy, nutrition. I mean, this is basically entry-level kind of nursing skills book. That's great here. What doesn't go is occasionally if you see like Jane Fonda or Dr. Zone or Dr. Atkins, the weight loss kind of stuff that we don't really have any interest in sending. And then the other thing is the ICD-9 CM, which is coding for insurance-related purposes. It would be too specific to really be that helpful to go there. It may list the process and it'll tell you the number that insurance companies will bill you according to, but in general, that's not really that helpful to go. So we would recycle. We see a bunch of stuff. Sciences here. I see some psychology happening over here. I see comparative politics happening here. I got sociology, some of the world history stuff at the university level, Western civilization, comparative politics, all breaking over here to this section. Next thing, we got education theory, which is for all of the books that are intended for those going into teaching. So this stuff here is a great example of what we're hoping to send. Okay, this takes to childhood development. This is going to be learning disabilities and related disabilities, and then this right here. Do it all in because it actually go back to follow this law. But any of the books about curriculum planning, classroom management, education psychology, special needs kids, that kind of stuff is great for education theory here, student teaching, so great. We have art and humanities, which is for art, our history, film, photography, poetry, drama, philosophy. The logics are good in over here. We have science and engineering across the aisle. We have university math, which is great for the elementary algebra that we saw earlier on. We have a spot for business and economics, which is accounting, marketing, finance, organizational behavior, micro and macroeconomics. The last we have a spot for our English communications over here. This is Damien, my fellow part-time for helping me.
Hey, Damien.
Damien over here is helping sort through all of the critical reading guides, critical writing guides, all of those Norton, Bedford, Longman anthologies. Anything to do with the discipline of writing or communications, whether it's speech communications or writing speeches at the professional level. That includes the Norton, Bedford, Longman anthologies, the APA handbook, the MLA handbook, the Little Brown handbook, all of that stuff is great in over there. Anything to do with debate, forensics, not forensic science, but forensics are good in over here. Lastly, we have computer science, operating system tech, computer language manuals, website building stuff, AutoCAD, Photoshop. Like I said, we kind of go back to keeping it around 1990 and newer. Why? Because if you don't, you will see donations from every year. On the wall behind me here, we got Turbo Pascal, Fortran, floppy disk, COBOL. You see that little computer card hanging down there. You know, when my dad took me to work in 1972, that was their floppy drive. So, you know, this stuff ages fairly quickly, especially when you start talking the sciences and engineering and the computer sciences. So do have a heart and recycle that stuff. It's getting to be the world. The nature of what we're doing here